Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's interesting that most of the notions that I would like to share with you are also mentioned in the previous interventions. This is about Europe's conditionality, variable geometry, identity, the fourth industrial revolution, and the globalization. Of course, I will try to share my views in a nutshell, and it will be superficial because of the time limits here. First of all, the conditionality of the European Union now, and from a Turkish perspective as well, is a well-tested and well-proven quality. We should not undermine it, we should not downsize it, and we should really appreciate it. The history is laboratory, tested very well. In the case of Turkey, for example, the conditionality, when it was activated, when it was engaged, it transformed Turkey between 1995 till 2005 very positively in economic terms, regulatory alignment terms, and democracy and rule of law. And when it was deactivated, the result in the last 10 years and a little bit more are negative as to the European values and the rule of law in Turkey being in regression, especially in the last years. So from a Turkish business perspective, we know how important it is to cherish the European Union's conditionality and the transformative power. And we know what was part of the solution and part of the problem, so what can be, again, part of the solution. More Europe, and better Europe, is always part of the solution, and less Europe, for no country, including Turkey, cannot be part of a solution. Tested in the laboratory of the history. So it is not a speculation. Second, the variable geometry. This is not an old idea, this is a reality. I understand, of course, from a Romanian perspective, the multi-speed Europe is not necessarily the same as variable geometry, because multi-speed can go to an a la carte Europe, and it is not good, but in the original idea of the second generation of founding fathers like Jacques Delors and others, right after the end of the Cold War, variable geometry, it was just to reflect the reality of the field. So that there is a federation of 12, but Margaret Thatcher, of course, opposed to that, and a confederation of all the European countries, members of the Council of Europe at that time. It did not work, but it can still work, provided that in the larger circle, the wider circle, still the Copenhagen political criteria, single market, and in critical areas of cooperation like energy, digital single market remain. So the core should be limited to a more supranational federal Europe, good old Europe, maybe Europa Nostrum, but we need also Europa Progressio, a Europe which can make progress wherever it is possible. Another important issue is also when you go to the roots of the European idea, there is this variable geometry of different concepts in the from Machiavelli's opportunism to John Locke's utilitarianism, Immanuel Kant's idealism, Friedrich Hegel's realism. You will find, or Hannah Arendt emphasizes on how identity politics can translate progressively from tyranny to totalitarianisms. So we can, even in the ideas, there is this variable geometry. So it is inherent to the European reality maybe, but it has to be well managed, better organized, and more transparent and easy to explain to the public, rather than being a sophisticated paradise for European law experts. Coming to the fourth industrial revolution, this is really a game changer, and I agree with the previous speakers. This is a real game changer. In every industrial revolution, led by mostly by Europe, by the way, or including Europe, not only technology changed. With the first one, it was steam, second one, electricity, third one, electronics, and now we are in the fourth one, in an exponentially increasing fusion of new technologies, from digital to genetics and to cyberspaces, physical spaces, new energy, renewable energies. So we are more than in a revolution. Maybe we need a new concept there. But in every industrial revolution, not only the technology change, but also, and corollary, of course, naturally, the economy change, society change, and democracy change. Democracy of the first, as a result of the first revolution, was democracy of taxpayers. The second one ended with democracy of the people, one man, one vote, and finally one man and woman and one vote. And then this third one
resulted in the democracy of the middle class, consumer society. But now, probably the pattern will follow. So we are entering into a new phase of democracy as well. Not only a fourth industrial revolution, but a new phase of democracy as well. And now then identity analysis should also take into account how new generations, even when I have two kids with 5 years of difference, and they almost belong to two different worlds, only with 5 years of difference, because they are born to different technological environment. And the kids of today, they will not use even our smartphones, which change the history, because they are born into a world of augmented reality, and so on. So this is really a game changer, not an exclusively determinant factor, but really a game changer probably. So ending this part, the first industrial revolution, we can maybe also shortly say that it created a certain national identity, but it was an unfinished business, evolving towards an uncharted territory. The second one created a European identity, still an unfinished business, and not a perfect identity. The third one resulted in the identity of the European Union, but now we are in the fourth one. So we are heading towards an uncharted territory, but we are all here probably to exchange ideas to better understand what we can expect and how we can guide positively based on our values of always freedom and rule of law. Thank you.